good morning, everyone. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Welcome to 2026. If this is your first program in the new year, we'll start today. This week, we're going to be exploring kind of a reflective mode coming into the new year. Galatians 6 says, "But let each one examine his own work, and then he will have rejoicing in himself alone, not in another. For each one shall bear his own load." In other words, don't examine other people. Examine yourself. It's not about what other people are doing. It's what are you doing? What are you doing? Psalm 77 says this, "I will meditate on all your works and consider all your mighty deeds." Sometimes it's good to remember all the times that God bailed us out. That there were miracles in our lives, and we tend to forget those things when we get into a tough spot. Your ways, O God, are holy. What God is great as our God? You are the God who performs miracles. You display your power among the peoples. With your mighty arm, you redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. Now, I'm going to look at the scripture, but even God takes a step back to observe and evaluate his work. In Genesis chapter 1, it says that God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the sixth day. So he kind of took a step back. If you've ever worked on something, perhaps maybe a project, piece of furniture, or you worked on something in your house or your car, and you take a step back sometimes and look at it and say, okay, that looks pretty good. That looks great. And so that's what God did. He took a step back and said, that looks good. I liked what I've done. However, by Genesis 6, only 5 chapters away, he says this, "And the Lord saw the wickedness of man, and how great it was on the earth, and that every intent and the thoughts of his heart was only on evil continually," that he was always thinking about evil. "And the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I've created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing, and the birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord." Noah, God preserved. If you remember, God preserved out Noah and his family on the ark. 1 Thessalonians. But what should we do? What can we do? What should I do? Well, the Bible tells us. Paul tells us in 1 Thessalonians 5, "Rejoice always. Pray without ceasing." You say, I can't do that, Pastor. I can't pray all the time. Yes, you can. You can not be praying as much as having an awareness of God always and every day on your life, and having that be that awareness that drives you. There's a great little book called "Practicing the Presence of God" by Brother Lawrence. It was written in the 17th century. It's about 60 or 70 pages. It's a really small book, but it's just power-packed, where Brother Lawrence was a handicapped monk, had difficulty walking, and he was always, his mind was always on the Lord. It wasn't that he was always praying, it was that he was always had his mind on the Lord. And if he would stop himself and say, "Lord, I'm sorry, I got away from you," he would bring himself back. And it's just a great little book to read. "Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks." It's easy to give thanks, remember, when it's good. It's hard to give thanks when it's not good, when things are not going well. Colossians 4, Paul writes, "Continue earnestly in prayer, being vigilant in it with thanksgiving." With thanksgiving. That's very important, to be thankful for what we have. And sometimes we have to be thankful for what we don't have, or are thankful for the things that didn't happen to us. Luke chapter 5, we see the apostles seeing an example. Jesus says this, "So he himself often withdrew into the wilderness and prayed." This was Jesus. Mark chapter 1 says, "Now in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, He went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed. So they saw he prayed much and did great miracles. He prayed much and did great miracles. Sometimes we need to follow that example. Paul writes in 1 Corinthians 11, imitate me just as I also imitate Christ. So when I imitate Christ, imitate me. But when I don't. But Paul's saying, imitate me as I imitate Christ. That's our key for this year. Imitate Christ. God bless you, and we'll see you again next time.